Hey everyone, welcome back to Shree. You all know that AWS is hot in tech industry, right? And most of the people have AWS skills. So what will set you apart from the pack? Simple, build awesome projects. Yes, today I have brought to you 10 killer AWS projects that will not only boost your skills but also help you land your dream cloud job. So buckle up, future cloud architects, it's time to get practical. Okay, so as discussed, today I will show you top 10 AWS projects to add to your resume. Our very first project is deploying a static website on AWS S3. Most of you have used AWS S3, right? You know it is a object and bucket storage service. Here you can also host your static website. You can showcase your ability to host a static website by deploying a sample website using Amazon S3. What I would suggest is take your resume and upload it in Amazon S3 and try to host that as a static website. Right. You can also use features such as versioning, custom domain setup, SSL certificate integration for added sophistication. So this would be your first project. Here, another super exciting project, which is my favorite. I always loved doing serverless computing. So our next project is building a serverless restful API with AWS Lambda and API Gateway. So I assume that all of you or most of you are familiar with AWS Lambda. It is a serverless service, and API Gateway, which is another serverless service. So if you want to move towards serverless, this would be the perfect project for you. You can demonstrate your proficiency in serverless architecture by creating a RESTful API using AWS Lambda for compute and API Gateway for endpoint management. You can implement CRUD operations, which is also known as CRUD operations, on a simple database like DynamoDB. DynamoDB is again a serverless service, that's why I'm suggesting you to use DynamoDB. You can also use RDS, but if you want your entire project to revolve around serverless services, these three are my go-to services, which is AWS Lambda, API Gateway, and DynamoDB. Go try this project. Okay, the third project. Who all are DevOps enthusiasts? I am one of them. I assume you are also, right? So your third project revolves around DevOps. It is implementing continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline on AWS. You can highlight your DevOps skills by setting up a CICD pipeline using AWS Code Pipeline, Code Build, Code Deploy. You can also automate the build, test, and deployment processes for a sample application hosted on EC2 or Lambda. Or you can also leverage the website that you have hosted in your first project, which is AWS S3, and you can automate the entire process using CICD, using Code Pipeline, Code Build, and Code Deploy. Right? There are also many services such as CodeStar, CodeGuru, etc. that you can leverage in this project. If you want to do that, you can integrate it and you can use various features of that service. This will help you to create an end-to-end CICD pipeline using AWS services. So I hope you will perform this project. Our next and the fourth project is on AWS Glue. So here we are creating a data analytics pipeline with AWS Glue and Athena. If you're someone who is very much interested into data or ML or data ops maybe, so this is your go-to project. You can showcase your expertise in data engineering by designing a data pipeline using AWS Glue to extract, transform, and load your data across various sources into S3 data lake. Right? You can query and analyze the exact data using Athena for insights. So this is something that you are interested into data engineering field or data ops field. You can always perform this practical or this mini project, and you have to use these two services, which is AWS Glue and Athena. Glue for ETL, Athena for querying and insights of your data. Okay. Next is again one of my favorite, which is microservices. And if you're someone who is very much into containers and microservices and how it happens or how it works around AWS, you can always do this project. It is deploying a microservices architecture with AWS ECS or EKS. Right? Here you can illustrate your knowledge of containerization and microservices by deploying a sample application architecture using AWS Elastic Container Services, which is ECS, or you can also use EKS, which is Elastic Kubernetes Service. You can implement service directory, you can use load balancing, you can use auto scaling, you can create pods and clusters and services and everything that you have learned in containers or in Kubernetes. You can leverage these two services in AWS to showcase your proficiency in containerization and in Kubernetes. So this is again a very good project, and if you're someone who also want to land a job in MNC or FANG companies, most of their architecture is based on microservices. Most of the architectures are container based, right? So this project will definitely show you apart from it will showcase you in a very good manner. Okay, So the sixth project is setting up high availability and disaster recovery architecture. If you're someone who wanted to be a solutions architect, I would highly prefer you to go through this or to do this hands-on, because all the enterprise customer needed a high available and fault tolerant architecture for their application or websites, right? Here you can demonstrate your proficiency in designing fault tolerant and resilient architectures by setting up a highly available infrastructure using AWS services like Elastic Load Balancer, auto scaling, and multi-region replication for databases. So here you can use RDS database, you can use cross-region origin, you can also use read replicas of RDS for high availability. You can have different auto scaling groups, you can use horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. So this is also something that will showcase you apart from the other folks. Okay, so now our seventh project. It is again a serverless service. You can implement serverless data processing with AWS Lambda and Kinesis. Have you heard about Kinesis? If not, go and learn what is Kinesis, because this is also a very useful service. Here you can showcase your expertise in real-time data processing by building a serverless data processing pipeline using AWS Lambda and Kinesis. You can ingest streaming data, the real-time data. You can ingest it, you can process it in real time and store the results in DynamoDB or S3. So this is again a very simple yet very, very, very powerful project. You must implement this. Eighth one. Okay, this is something that I have actually built during my college time, and here you can build a chatbot with Amazon Lex and AWS Lambda. So you can highlight your skills in natural language processing, which is called NLP, and AI, conversational AI, which we nowadays also call as generative AI, by creating a chatbot using Amazon Lex. So Amazon Lex is a service where you can create chatbots for intent recognition and AWS Lambda for backend logic. So your backend will be done by AWS Lambda, which is a serverless service, and you can integrate the chatbot with messaging platforms also, such as Slack or Facebook Messenger or maybe Teams, right? So this is very interesting as well as very unique project. You can build a chatbot using Lambda and Lex. So go try it out and move to our ninth project, which is about ML. So here, if you are an ML enthusiast, if you want to be in ML field, if you want to be an MLOps engineer, you can deploy a machine learning model on AWS SageMaker. So showcase your machine learning skills by training and deploying a machine learning model using AWS SageMaker. You can choose a very simple data set. You can build and train a model. You can deploy it as a RESTful API for real-time predictions. So you can do a lot many things, but this would be a very good project if you are an ML enthusiast and you want to seek a job in cloud industry. You can showcase that yes, you have the skills that required to be in this field. So go try this project. Okay. Last and final one, implementing infrastructure as code with AWS CloudFormation or Terraform. This is one of my favorite projects because this is what I even do in my day-to-day life. So CloudFormation or Terraform is very important. ISC tools. You can illustrate your expertise in infrastructure automation by creating AWS resources using infrastructure as a code tools like AWS CloudFormation or Terraform. You can define a simple infrastructure configuration and provision it automatically on AWS. So try to, all the projects that you have done so far, such as S3, the first project implementing a website on S3, you can convert it into CloudFormation templates and you can deploy it. Any of the above 9 projects, you can just take it, write a code, deploy it using CloudFormation template or Terraform, and voila, you are done with the 10th project. So infrastructure as a code, I don't know how to explain you, but this is very important in enterprise customer or in corporate world. If you are in cloud field or a DevOps field, this is something that you have to do as a daily task. So try using this, try to learn how to write a CloudFormation stack or stack sets, how to use it, how to modify it, how to update it, how to delete it. Get your hands dirty in this project, and I would like that you all perform all the 10 projects or any one of these 10 projects and get a very good job. Showcase it on your resume, be very confident in your project. So if you are getting questions from your project during interviews, you'll be able to crack it, right? All the very best. And if you're performing any of these above 10 projects, please mention it in LinkedIn once you have performed it, because learning in public is something that I would always suggest you to do. Once you have built something, once you have written a blog or performed a project, go and share it with other audience, with your connections on LinkedIn, and don't forget to tag me. I would be more than happy to see that you have performed any of these projects. And if you want me to perform any of this project and create my next video on this, do let me know in comment section. Thank you everyone. Bye.